Hello and welcome to the Middle School Bookmarker Show. I'm Chris.
And I'm Brianna. We're teachers reading this middle school novel for the very first time. We hope you'll read it along with us and then listen in on our conversation about it.
This week we're covering Schooled by Gordon Korman, and we just read chapters 25 and 26. So if you haven't read them, go read them now.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to get this whole show wrapped up in just 11 minutes because 11 minutes is all you need to
build a force field around you so you don't get hit by spitballs. Chapter 25, we got Zach, and he is really disgusted with all these rumors about Capricorn's disappearance. He's heard stuff about Cap being in the hospital, about having amnesia, about hanging in a fish tank of all things. Zach doesn't really care about Cap. All he thinks about is how his year is ruined.
Yeah, he's just really frustrated that everyone is so upset about Cap being gone. He's like, there's nothing really wrong with Cap. He just went back to wherever he came from and everybody was freaking out for no reason. I don't understand. Like, all he did was, like, host a funeral for a bird and play senior music, which is really just the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, he's calling it senior music.
So Zach takes this mentality and he brings it to his crew of friends. Lena and Naomi are there. Naomi has already blown up at Zach once for criticizing Cap and saying negative things about him. She blows up again. Lena also defends Cap and says, like, well, he got us all on his side. We all really like him now. Zach thinks that Cap is fine. He doesn't believe any of the rumors, but nobody else does, even his best, closest friends. What happens throughout the school that Zach notices, Brianna?
Zach just starts getting dirty looks from everyone, not just the people in his crowd like Lena and Naomi, but even the sixth graders feel like
Sixth graders
can give him dirty looks, and that's really interesting because he was like top of the food chain.
But he's an eighth grader, so the school must really dislike Zach right now.
Yeah, they're even writing graffiti type stuff on his locker. They're writing like jerk and just like mean words like in the paint on his locker.
So things have turned pretty drastically against Zach, and that's highlighted again in the cafeteria. Hugh also doesn't have anyone to sit with, so it's pretty insane that just a couple weeks after really making Hugh a target, he's all of a sudden the only friend that Zach has. Look at how far Zach has fallen. He has to sit and eat lunch with Hugh, and he's kind of like disgusted with himself. There's a moment where he's talking to Hugh, and in the middle of the conversation, Hugh notices, wait, you got something weird in your hair, and they eventually dig out a spitball. Zach is usually the spitballer. Zach is usually the person that tells everybody else who to spitball. I kind of love this sweet ironic justice because I know that Zach Powers has spitballed a whole bunch of kids, even the ones we haven't read about. I know he's definitely bullied some kids, and now here he is picking spitballs out of his own hair.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see, and how after that happened, he still tried to tell Hugh that Hugh had brought all the bullying on himself because of the clothes he wore, what he was interested in, and how he spoke. He kind of made it seem like it was Hugh's fault that Zach bullied him.
Which is absurd.
Yeah.
He says, like, I think he says, like, even from elementary school, like, just the way you dressed, the things you did, the way that you talked, you were asking for getting bullied. Yeah. I hate that. And it makes me hate it too. Makes me hate Zach even more, which means, again, the author is doing a wonderful job. So they have... Oh, the other thing I want to say, one more thing about Zach and another reason to hate him. He talks about how he has an internal guidance system, a GPS system that leads him to coolness. Ugh, I absolutely hated that.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's awful.
But the boys, these outcasts, they kind of stumble upon a plan. What's the plan?
So Hugh says something like, it's too bad you can't just decide to start liking Cap Anderson. And all of a sudden, Zach has this epiphany where he's like, okay, we're gonna jump on the bandwagon. We're going to pretend that we like Cap Anderson. So they rush to the library and Zach starts typing up something on the computer. And it's actually like a tribute notice where that you would see, like, if somebody had actually died, there would be, like, a tribute where a whole bunch of people would gather and kind of talk about the person. And so Zach creates this tribute to Cap, like, on the library computer, and then is going to print a whole bunch of copies to give out to the students.
So, and the other little, like, cherry on top of this is that the tribute's going to be during when the Halloween dance was supposed to be. But just to recap, Cap is not dead, and Zach doesn't actually care, and they're all heading to a dance that isn't actually happening. So we're in a strange spot as we head into chapter 26, Sophie's chapter. It starts off with kind of some internal monologue from Sophie, where she's talking about how, you know what, things are actually coming together for me. Things are falling into place. Her driver's test is imminent. She's got this bracelet that she really likes. Her dad she sees it as kind of like an upgrade or stepping up because he gave her the bracelet, even though we know that she didn't. And there's also a boy that might be interested in her. And he's a senior. How dreamy.
Yeah, so she seems pretty happy in the beginning of the chapter, but that quickly kind of ends when she has a little bit of doubt creep in after a conversation on the phone with her dad. So her dad calls to wish her good luck on her driver's test, acts like he's been helping her out all along, even though we know that isn't really the case.
Mm-hmm.
And Sophie is thinking about the bracelet and how much she loves it, and she decides to thank her dad for getting the bracelet back to her. And the dad is kind of caught off guard at first, and he just, like, goes silent and then pretends it's a bad connection on the phone. And then he kind of just plays off it, and he's like, oh yeah, like, you're welcome, but I gotta go, the connection's bad. So, like, he pretends that he did give it back to her, but he knows he didn't, and Sophie starts to have some doubts.
Not cool. Yeah, so those doubts pop in her head, and she's like, well, how could he possibly have forgotten? And she goes to ask her mom. At this point, Donnelly has actually seen the receipt for the bracelet in Kasigi's office, but it seems like they haven't put it together yet. So Donnelly defends her ex-husband and says, oh, well, you know, he really cares. So they end up heading to the DMV where the driver's test is about to occur, and they have some interesting artwork on the walls. What do they have on the walls?
Yeah, they have, like, a whole bunch of car crash pictures of, like, multiple I think they called it multi-car pileups, and I was just like, why would you have that anywhere, let alone the DMV?
Supposed to scare the kids? It's insane.
I've been to the DMV. They don't have pictures like that.
No, I see a whole bunch of people waiting angrily. I don't see car crash pictures. All right, Brianna, we got about 90 seconds to get through the rest of our points.
All right, so Sophie gets in the car. She's really nervous, and she feels like she's kind of defusing a bomb trying to do this driving test.
Tremulous.
So, yes. So she tries to conjure a mental image of somebody to help her calm herself, and she actually pictures Cap. And she's going through a tight street, and she remembers something Cap told her, like, if the hood goes through, the rest of the car will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, despite making multiple mistakes during the test, hitting the wrong button, she accidentally turns on the radio and hears a Beatles song, which makes her think of Cap. And then messing up her parallel parking, she actually passes the driver's test.
Success. So, as soon as she passes the test, that had been pretty much the biggest thing on her mind for most of the book now. Well, it changes, and she begins, those seeds of doubt that were planted earlier from that conversation with her dad, they come back, and she's obsessed with it. She then realizes, wait, Dad didn't forget. He never did it. Mom must have did it. Wait, no, Mom, she wouldn't have done that. Mom always says you kids need to not live in a fantasy land and live in reality. So eventually, Sophie puts it together. And what does she figure out, Brianna?
She figures out that Cap must have given her the bracelet, even though he would have gotten nothing in return because Sophie would have thought it was from her father. So Sophie can't believe that she treated Cap so bad, and it makes her feel so bad that she actually starts crying. Mm-hmm. And she goes to see Miss Donnelly after her test to pick up her license, and her mom thinks, oh my gosh, you must have failed. And she's like, no, Mom, I passed, but she doesn't want her mom to know that she's crying over Cap. Because she feels so bad about how she bullied him and treated him. So she decides that she wants to try and make it up to him, and the best way would be maybe at the Halloween dance.
And I guess she doesn't know the dance is canceled, and that makes sense because she goes to a different school. So what I think is going to happen is she's going to burst through this kind of memorial ceremony thing. Cap will be there somehow, and I think she's going to go up and probably kiss him or hug him in front of the entire school, and it'll probably give Cap a little bit more cred. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. All right. We got to wrap this baby up. Next time, we are doing chapters 27, 28, and 29. We're doing 3, so we normally only do 2. We are doing 3 next time. Make sure that you are reading 3. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We are way over our time, so we will see you later.